G'day, I'm Michael Strack. I was president back around 2013 or so. This anniversary has prompted some reflection on my personal journey as an atheist and what it means to be now, but also some issues which we need to address within the atheist community or movement or whatever you want to call it. With the caveat that no, it's not a monolithic, homogeneous entity, so forgive the generalizations. But anyway, I've considered myself an atheist since about the end of high school, and I'm sure many of you had a similar experience where we valued humanist principles like equality and reason and could never reconcile those with the religious teachings. And it wasn't an easy realization, and it took a lot of questioning and seeking and reflecting, but it also felt logically inescapable, and it felt right. I mean, atheism is the only theological position I feel I can accept with intellectual honesty and integrity. Anyway, I went off and did a Bachelor of Science, and then after trying a few other things, I came to Sydney and Macquarie around 2011 to return to study and do a PhD. And I joined the League almost immediately, I think, and I had a fantastic time. So yeah, it was really exciting to feel that intellectual camaraderie again. I got into lots of vigorous debates and stimulating discussions. I neglected my studies because at that time, being an atheist, with capital A, was a very important part of my identity. We are the rational ones, the ones who understand epistemology and logic, and we confront reality as it really is, rejecting superstition and all its attendant harms and so on. But over time, things changed, and nowadays, although I'm still an atheist, I'm a little disillusioned, to be honest, and I'm not the only one. So I'm going to present some criticisms and a challenge. And they get quite strongly worded at times, but I hope you can consider them dispassionately, because that point, openness to criticism, is where I would like to start. And we atheists are argumentative. We don't shy away from intellectual conflict. In fact, we value it as we should, but it can have a dark side. I think we've all seen examples where people have been seduced by a kind of intellectual superiority complex. I'm the atheist, I'm the smart one, and it's self-reinforcing, because such an attitude discourages self-examination and self-critique, especially when combined with our own human insecurities. It creates a very fragile ego. We find other perspectives increasingly affronting and reflexively attack or avoid them. So we make a bubble, becoming insular. We don't hear enough that challenges us. And when we do, we dismiss legitimate criticism when it comes from those we consider morally or intellectually inferior. So it's vital to remember that intellectual growth depends in part on social and emotional growth. If we don't challenge ourselves to really consider diverse viewpoints, if we don't seek insight and empathy into diverse experiences, we become closed-minded, hubristic, intellectually lazy. That's an ironic betrayal of humanist values. And I'm sure we've all seen examples in the atheist community where this attitude leads to cruelty. And perhaps the most egregious one is the strange confluence of atheism with the men's rights movement, video gaming, image board culture, and I hope that the vast majority of us see that for what it is, but that's a cartoonishly easy one. What's even more worrying is the injustice we don't see at all, either because we hide it or because we're blinded. What I mean is that the insularity, the arrogance and self-righteousness that I've described make us vulnerable to committing everyday injustices based on sexism, racism, queerphobia, Islamophobia, and so on. And we've had high-profile atheists perpetrate sexual harassment and assault, further the demonization of Muslims, and so on. But too often members of our community close ranks to deny to defend or excuse these actions. And it's not just a few bad apples among the big names. We must be vigilant at conventions, student groups, you name it. So yes, we must be concerned with the splashy stuff like Gamergate, but also the more subtle, everyday actions which cause pervasive harm. When people are excluded or marginalised, when we profess high ideals but our actions reveal that we don't value people, when we cast everyone as opponents and obstinately argue and attack and antagonise with no regard to the actual effectiveness of the exercise beyond a callous pursuit of self-satisfaction. And when we consider only the individual, forgetting the value of relationships and community, then there is a cost to the atheist movement because we become an irrelevant and stunted self-parody. When we are marginalised, we are not effective ambassadors for the virtues of secular humanism. So that's my case. Why am I raising it now? Well, for a while there, I kind of forgot that I rejected religion not just because of its logical incoherence, but also for its contribution to human suffering. And while atheists and humanists have done a vast amount of good, too often we're also the cause of such suffering. So yes, reason, logic, skepticism, empiricism, argumentation, these are humanist values and good ones. And I don't propose to abandon them, but so are humility, compassion, justice and equality. They must factor into the balance. So please take the 10th anniversary to reflect on how well our actions embody both sets of values. And if we do that, I'm sure that we can build a more inclusive, vibrant, respected and effective community which anyone can be proud to be a part of. I hope you all enjoy the day.